Guys Talking Ball podcast. We are back after our 4th of July weekend. We decided to take the week off, but we're back here for the next 2 weeks. Last week, all we did was we just dropped, I dropped my live reaction of Michigan's final 2-minute drive that tied the game up against Alabama, and then their overtime. People that tuned in and watched the whole thing got to see me break my personal record of the that was broken the Saturday after Thanksgiving of PR vertical after Rod Moore intercepted Kyle McCord for Michigan's third straight win over Ohio State to the stop in overtime that propelled Michigan to the national title game in the Rose Bowl that killed Nick Saban here. So we'll a little bit of a tease here in 2 weeks because we won't be doing an episode. I'll be going on vacation. I will be releasing the entire fourth quarter of the national title game of my reaction. There wasn't a cause for me to jump up with excitement, just the way the game. There is a good one of me stretching out. Well, and I won't completely spoil it, but nothing overly freaking out. Got some interesting comments. I don't know if this was a compliment or a diss or both, but there was a guy that commented on the video that said I could play offensive line for Michigan, which I'm not sure if that was a fat joke or it was just saying like I'm built like a brick shithouse and I could definitely play on the offensive line for Michigan.
Well, Dylan, since we're nowhere near the age of being college athletes, and at a game you're videotaping your reaction of someone playing, this guy was definitely making fun of you for being fat.
That's all right. That's fine.
And that's okay. But it was a funny comment, and I do appreciate those.
I laughed. I thought it was good. We've been told a lot worse. I mean, Grant's been told he hates the troops and can't even do 5 push-ups, but he's been doing over 200 a day for the last like 6 months. Is that is accurate? About 6 months, or is it a little less?
A little less. It started. Well, was it January or February, Ethan? I think it was started February 1. Dylan, it was me, Ethan, and Alec. It started at 100 a day, and then in March it went up to 150. April 200, May 250, and then June was 300 a day. But now I've been doing, guys, 320. I think I'm going to stick there, but I just do 8 sets of 40. It takes
8 sets of 40.
8 sets of 40. It takes me it seems like a half hour to get it done because you got to rest for 2 or 3 minutes in between. But yeah, to that user on TikTok who said I hate the troops because I said boomers are soft, I can do 5 push-ups because I've been doing 300 a day.
I can feel the burn just you talking about it.
Good.
That's good. And I mean, and you know, we did, Grant. It was about 2015 back then, but now that it's 2024, it is acceptable because we did do a college weightlifting program. Since obviously the last few years or the last 15 years, Nebraska hasn't been doing it. We just decided to start doing it to see if it worked, and it actually did. I don't know what the hesitancy with Nebraska has been, but you know, so we could make the argument that we kind of, you know, maybe we could play Division I ball.
You know, Dylan, you know what would be kind of fun if we could go to Google and see if that PDF is still out there.
I'm actually curious to see if because I know we printed it off.
We printed it off.
I'm curious to see if I can find it somewhere in my mess of like my about 8 junk drawers I have here in my office. Yeah. I'm curious to see. As I look, I can see my NDSU student ID in there, but it
might be in that pile.
It could be, but I would be curious. I think that's something that we'll have to do when we get done recording here. But fellas, how was your guys' 4th? Anything exciting happen? Are all of your fingers and toes still intact?
I cut my own toe off and I lost a bet, but
it wasn't due to firework?
No.
It wasn't. Oh, so you're fine. Mr.
Yeah.
Boone.
But no, we went to the Twins game July 4th, and then pretty much hung out the rest of the week. It was great. Did a crap ton of yard work. I sent you guys photos of that.
I did. It looked good, Ethan, the yard man.
I guess I grilled or smoked everything Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's phenomenal.
So what'd you all smoke?
Let's see. So I grilled burgers, and Hannah's grandparents were over every night too. They were helping us do stuff. But grilled burgers on Friday, smoked ribs Saturday, and then we grilled some steaks on Sunday. So yeah, it was a good weekend of meat. It was meat sweats Sunday night.
What was his name?
His name.
You said you ate a lot of meats.
I don't believe in that type of meat.
Oh, okay. Sure.
No hot dogs in this place.
No? Yeah, I always took you for a bratwurst type of guy.
I am not Kobayashi.
Well, yeah, he's a bratwurst kind of guy because it's a bigger piece of meat, if you know what I'm saying. Fucking Rob Riggle. What a guy.
That is a all-time quote. But
Ethan, if you're grilling every single weekend on the 4th of July holiday, you're doing it right.
I had fun.
You are.
I did.
You're doing it right.
I had fun.
I smoked some wings on Sunday, and they turned out really well. Got a nice little smoke flavor to them. I bought this Kinder's bourbon barbecue peach.
Dude, yes.
Barbecue sauce. Ooh, that and you don't even need you don't even need to dip them in ranch or blue cheese. Like you can just eat those
the whole damn thing. So of course.
Yep, it does. It does. I made about 12 of them. I went half of that and then half of just the OG buffalo sauce, and they turned out great. It was like fall off the bone. Like I don't know if you guys have seen the video of like where they push like the meat down into the plate and then you can just get it all in one bite. But they were all like perfect that way. To
I don't know if you saw Grant. Did you see this? Minnesota State Fair came out with 33 new foods.
Yeah, I did.
Oh God!
Talking about ranch, one of their new ones is deep fried ranch.
How does that work?
I don't know.
I heard about it today.
You have to freeze it and then deep fry it, or like make it cold.
It doesn't make sense. You just dump the whole box in there and then you just kind of cut it. I don't know. Like,
call me crazy. Is it all to Dylan's point? Is it almost going to come in like kind of frozen, like in a popsicle form?
Right, and then you just drop it.
I don't think that would. I don't know how that would work though, because if it's frozen, it's gonna liquefy, and then you got to fire.
Yeah, you're.
It's beyond me.
Well, we're gonna have to go, and we're gonna have to find out, Ethan.
I guess that's our homework assignment for.
I'll be back from Colorado that Saturday, so I mean, Labor Day or Sunday before. I mean, I'm game.
There it is. You get some of Sweet Martha's cookies. You get a pork chop on a stick.
Mm.
That is a place I want to get back to. Is the Minnesota State Fair? I had a great time the last time I was there.
Yeah, we went a couple like was it 3-4 years ago?
We went in 2019. It was because we went to the NDSU Butler game at Target Field, and then the next day we went.
That's right.
So it was
deep fried ranch. That's interesting.
It is.
They also have some buffalo cheese curd chicken tacos.
Oh God, that sounds amazing.
Smash.
Yeah.
Smash. Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh, I'm definitely partaking. But I will also. It's gonna be hot. I don't know what it's like over there, but it is gonna be hot this weekend over in Dickinson, as it always is for the Miller Lite tournament, softball tournament. So
is Dana coming?
Got that going on. What's that?
Is Dana's team coming?
No, they too scared of us.
So I'm not going to get a whole recap between both of you guys about North Dakota softball this weekend.
No,
please.
I mean, I'll let you guys know how we're doing as long as we're playing well. We have it could get dangerous, so I'm not gonna lie, because we play 2 games Saturday at 7:40 and 10, and then the rest of the day is like it could get dangerous. Like I've already made plans. My parents are coming to take my vehicle home, so I don't have anything to worry about.
Dylan, it's not. It could get dangerous. It's going to get dangerous.
It's going to be like 90 degrees. I got to make sure I mix in a couple of waters here and there, and actually get some hydration and electrolytes.
Make sure you don't have any of those John Daly, John Daly seltzers, because you'll be toasted at 3 p.m. if you have those.
It doesn't matter if it's that. High Noon, Surfsides, Busch Light, Old Milwaukee, Michelob Ultras. The beers are going to be going down easy this weekend.
You're already preparing to talk like like that.
No, that was that. I don't even think I was stuttering there. I think it was just my. I don't know if my internet lagged out or what.
Oh well, it sounded like you were just getting prepared to talk like you've had about 15 beers already.
You're welcome.
Okay, and now his internet did go out.
Yeah, he's not blinking either. Oh
he's not blinking. He's not moving.
He's having a stroke.
It's like, dude, blink.
Dude, hello.
Hello, Dylan.
Hello.
And now my screen is telling me Dirty Dan and the boys, Dirty Mike and the boys, like the other guys.
He got too
excited about the Miller Lite softball tournament in State Fairfield.
Either one, buy both.
Okay, so Ethan's back, but Dylan's not.
Where did I go?
Well, your screen for the while said you were reconnecting.
Boone just tooted and Hannah says it smells.
Well, he is a dog.
Oh, there it is.
Hey, he's back.
Hey, he didn't have a stroke. Let's go.
Let's go. He's still alive.
Still alive. Still kicking. Still kicking. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be a good weekend. Hopefully, going for our second Miller Lite trophy in 4 years here. Took second last year. Got to move up to get up back up on the mountaintop here. So we stay tuned. We'll have a full recap as long as we play well. If we suck, then I don't think it's going to be worth talking about.
No, we're gonna. If you suck, we're gonna invite Dana on and do a literally inning by inning recap of each game you lost.
Oh well, then we're gonna have Fargo softball versus Dickinson softball.
Yep.
And we can prove that Fargo is the superior talent in terms of softball in North Dakota.
Yeah.
Possibly. We don't know that.
Dylan, I know this one thing for sure. The beers are going down. Win or lose. We still
win or lose. So maybe that's what you guys maybe I'll live stream it, the games, and then you guys can watch, and then after when we record next Monday, we can you guys can we can do a post game press conference style.
Did you ever announce how bad I kicked your guys' butts in mini putt while you were here?
We did not. Yeah, Ethan won. He had a incredible comeback. He was down and then had like 4 hole-in-ones in the final round to beat us in mini putt. So congratulations to Ethan.
You know, it is what it is.
Oh my God.
I would more analogize it to a blind squirrel finding a nut.
Hey, four nuts is pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he had like 4 hole-in-ones. Dylan had 2. I had 1. That pissed me off.
Yeah, the last one, and it was a sick one too.
It was a sick one too. Yeah, through that cage.
It was of like the 8 hole-in-ones that we had.
It was the coolest one.
Grant's was probably the coolest. So I mean, you basically had 2.
I mean, my last hole-in-one basically sealed it, going up that big ramp with no edges.
Oh yeah, that's
you
just
guys all got like 6s.
Because that was the middle course of the 3, and we're all just sitting back like, hey, we're gonna get 5s or 6s, and Ethan just absolutely buries it, and we're just like, oh great.
Just steps up, just sinks it. It was like, oh, all right, well, we had a good run.
All right, well, if we don't get a hold of
it was fun though.
See you guys next year.
Yeah, he pretty much Ethan just put it on the table and said, I'm bigger than you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bigger, better, you name it, that's there. Yeah.
Yeah. Ethan lifts in the morning, Dylan.
Ethan lifts in the morning.
Ethan lifts in the morning, to bring up a quote that we said from 2 weeks ago. At least on that day, he lifted in the morning.
I sure did.
But have you guys been watching the off-season Hard Knocks of the New York Giants at all yet?
I've not started. I've been pretty much watching the Euro Cup. I'm not gonna lie. It's been fascinating.
Oh, I have not watched any soccer. I saw that they the U.S. Fired their coach.
Dylan, it's communist running. Remember,
communist kickball and glorified jogging.
That's what it was. Oh my God, that was so funny, dude. After you said that the first time, I laughed so hard. I had the hiccups for about 20 minutes. I was like, God damn it, Dylan, I'm not going to sleep tonight because of you.
That's all right.
Gosh, that was funny.
What is sleep?
Team no sleep, like Russell Wilson. Speaking of,
that's right.
It finally caught up to him. All those years of no sleep, and his play has been absolute ass. It finally caught up to him.
Yeah, but he, Grant, you said that you've seen the first two episodes of Hard Knocks Giants. Mm-hmm. You know, after watching the first two episodes, I understand why the Giants are the way that they are, is because the guy running the show, it seems like there is absolutely no direction. There's no identity within the club. They really don't have any, seems like they don't really have any idea of what they're doing.
No. What is it, Shen?
Yeah.
Or however says his last name. I mean, you want to talk about a blind squirrel finding a nut every once in a while? That's this guy. I mean, he is just clueless. Like, he sits back in the first episode, he goes, well, we can't pay Saquon $12 million a year because you got a $40 million quarterback. You can't be paying him that much money to hand the ball off. Have you watched your team play in the last 6 years, dude? Like, when Saquon's not going, Daniel Jones is absolute ass. He had one good year with a Mickey Mouse schedule, and he played
and he only threw like 16 touchdowns.
16 touchdowns, and he played a glorified college defense in the Vikings in the playoffs, and still barely won that game.
Like,
yeah,
sixth grade middle school, like where Dylan coaches.
Yes, it was bad. Yeah. And then they get their ass kicked against Philadelphia, and they're like, let's just give this guy $40 million a year annually. Like,
who is a turnover machine? He fumbles the ball.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I think if anything, I think it's impressive that Brian Daboll is able to do the things he does, because I do think Daboll is actually a good coach. It's just there's just that front office gives him zero help.
I'm not saying the extension was smart, but at the same time, they weren't going to be able to draft anyone. They're not going to do a 1 year, because he would have had to pick up his
fifth-year option.
Free agent, right? Yeah, his fifth-year option.
I think they decided not to pick up his fifth-year option, and that's why they paid him.
Well, yeah, because they didn't pick it up because him and Daboll got there in the winter of 22 when it was due, and they didn't pick it up because, well, he didn't deserve it at the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't blame him, but I really would have done some sort of opt-out or something.
I thought I saw, guys, there was an opt-out after the second year. So, like, after this year.
This year? Okay.
Yeah, that's why there was so much buzz about them trying to maybe trade up with New England to go to 3. Because then if he gets, he got hurt this year, or he just plays like absolute booty cheeks again, they can move off after this year.
Makes sense. Even though this quarterback class kind of sucks.
Yeah, this year's this is a bad class.
That's why they should have gotten a quarterback.
Yeah,
2 months ago. Yeah,
they should have just traded back or sat there and taken JJ or something once Drake was gone.
Mm-hmm.
But the Vikings got him, and it's right? better for both parties, I think. But
100%.
The Twins, they've
Dylan,
they've won.
Dylan, real quick, another thing on the Giants. I thought it was interesting. Before they started in free agency, they were talking about positions of need: wide receiver, running back, D tackle, and they're walking around and they're saying, hey, all their scouts or personnel people are like, this guy does this well, this guy does that well, this and that. And when they got to the D tackle position, they were like, yeah, Chris Jones, he's the belle of the ball right here. And then some guy goes, Yeah, we'd love to have him with Dexter, but we don't have enough money for it. So let's move on to the next guy.
That was a good one. But the Twins, they've won 4 of their last 5. They took 2 of 3 from the Astros and 2 of 3, or is it a 4-game series with the White Sox that they play?
Nope, they're off tomorrow. Then they go to Giants.
They're off tomorrow, so they've won like 6 of their last 7 series or something like that.
6 in a row.
And they're peaking at the right time. I think they're about since April. I saw a stat. They are 45-22, which is about a half the season mark or close to.
A little under.
A little under. But 45-22, that's still pretty damn good.
And they've 102 win pace.
Yeah, you win 100 games in baseball, and if you don't make the playoffs, I guess that's just a testament to other teams that just had better years. But they're still keeping pace with the Guardians. They've got a good chunk of games against the Guardians in the second half of the season.
And the Guardians
Brooks Lee. And they just lost, so it's now is it still at 5 games?
It'll be 4.5.
4.5.
Did we close out game 2 here, or is it still going on?
3-2.
Yeah.
So we would have been. I think it'll be 5.5. I want. It's either 5 or 5.5.
Yeah, I think it's 5.5 because it was 5 on Monday after they won in Cleveland lost, and then. Since they got rained out yesterday,
it should be 5 then.
I think it is 5.
Yeah, because we were 5.5 back last night because we didn't play, so that would have put us at 5.5. Lost the first game today, puts us at 6. So
Won today, 6.5.
5. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because they lost.
Yep, they lost just now. So I think we should be at 5 again if ESPN's updated. Yep, they're updated. It's 5.
And the way the playoffs are set up, this is a team that needs to continue playing. So you could make the case that the wild card wouldn't be bad because they wouldn't have that potentially long week off, depending on what the rest of the American League does. But they just called up Brooks Lee, who seems every bit as the number 1 prospect, and Buxton seems to be playing all right. Miranda had a 12 at bat hit streak, which is incredibly impressive.
I was there for 4 of them. Let me just say, I was there for 4 of them.
You were, yeah, and
he was on July 4th, 4 for 4 with 3 doubles.
Damn.
And I feel like this team has the leadership, the veteran leadership with Correa, who has a World Series ring. Buxton's been there forever. Kepler's been there.
You're forgetting a big one.
They have balance, and they have a good young core too with Brooks Lee.
That's a big one.
Santana's been a huge pickup, and it was one that was not very popular. If I recall, when they signed him, a lot of people were like questioning why are we signing this almost 40-year-old, and he's been
still rake. Like he's in the right now. He's the only guy not really hitting in the lineup. But he's been phenomenal. Like not all-star level, but he's been above average at 38, which is really saying something.
But like when the game that we went to with the Rays, he played. He had a good game. I think he had a home run, didn't he?
He had a home run.
Yeah,
in the 9th.
Yeah, that was the one that tied it.
So here's some Twins offensive ranks for you since June 1st in the MLB. Their average as a team is 293, first. On base percentage, 356, first. Slugging, 487, first. Doubles, 76, first. Home runs, 46, fifth. Runs, 193, first. RBIs, 189, first. And then their K percentage is 17.6, which is second.
Nice.
That's over a month. Their team is damn near hitting 300 as a team.
Well, and without question, since June 1st, without question, the best offense in baseball.
It's not even close. Like Christian Vasquez, like I was hating on the guy a couple weeks ago. His last 18 games, he's hitting over almost 300. Like whatever their hitting coach is doing, I mean, from the beginning of the year when he even was getting roasted for how bad they started, couldn't hit shit, he kept saying it'll happen, it'll happen. We're seeing what he was talking about. Like Carlos Correa believed in it from the start, and he's only hitting like 450 the last month, like just an absolute terror. And he's still somehow only second in the league in average during that time, and he's still like he hit 3 for 3 in the first game today, hit a big homer in the second game. But yeah, so he's probably close to 320 right now, and he's arguably having his best career ever at what is he, 29, 30, right around there.
I think he's I want to say he's around our age.
Yeah, he's 20. I think he's 29.
Crazy. This team is just unreal. Buxton's having his best year ever.
What do you think potentially, as the trade deadline approaches, what are something you'd want to see the front office do if they were to make a trade?
Offense, you're fine. Once you get rid of Kyle Farmer when Royce comes back after the All-Star break, just DFA him, get him out of there. I want a left-handed reliever. We don't really have a guy that you can just 100% say, hey, he's going to go get him out. Okert's had his problems. Funderburk, or whatever his name is, had his problems. Caleb Thielbar is he was so good last year. He's just terrible this year. He couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. So you need that lefty to come in, that specialist, just to get somebody when there's 2 outs. You have got 2 lefties coming up. That's kind of been our nemesis this year. And then I would just say another 5th starter. Chris Paddock, this is his first time pitching this many innings in a long, long time. He already went on the IL once for, I think, just shoulder fatigue, basically. And then you don't really have a 6th guy that you can call up and just count on. Festa was good his first start, our prospect. Shaky, the second one versus Detroit. I don't think that's someone you can count on come October. But I'm not saying like a frontline starter, but a solid 3 or 4, I think would do really well for this team.
Just some more quality depth. And
you look at a guy like Woods Richardson, who last year he's had his ups and downs, and got the start Sunday, and that was probably the first time that I've really sat down extensively and watched a Twins game from start to finish. And I was watching the pregame show, and they talked about how he had to sit down with the front office about how he needs to start taking a little bit better care of himself. He needs to start taking things a little bit more serious, and that talk has seemed to have worked because he's been their best. You could make the case that he's been their best pitcher this year.
Yeah, him or Bailey Ober are easily the 2. Joe Ryan, I guess, has probably been the best now that I think about it. Record doesn't indicate it. He just gets so many no decisions. And somehow Pablo he's struggled. He's been better the last month. But if he can turn it around, become that ace that we had last year, that's 4 starters that you definitely can get at minimum 5 innings to start out of. And that's really saying something, because I think the average in the MLB is under 4 or under 5 innings to start.
Yeah. And you want those pitchers to go deep into the games in October, because the games you don't have as much rest. You're playing them more consistently, and the less bullpen you got to use, I think that gives you a more advantage. But it's
funny, we barely even mentioned Brooks Lee's name, and he's hitting a cool 375 through 8 games in the MLB with 2 homers, a bunch of doubles. He reminds me of a young Joe Mauer at the plate. He's very just disciplined. He doesn't chase very much. Can go either side. When he develops more power to the opposite field, he's going to be really, really freaking good. And he can pick it no matter where he plays. Third base, shortstop. He's played both. He's looked really good.
Yeah. And that's the other thing too, is because I think that's what haunted this team in October last year is they relied too much on the home run ball. And a guy like Brooks Lee, maybe that not having that power works to his advantage, where he's just going to try to get on base and let his teammates hit him around. And that's what's eventually what is proven to win in October is guys that aren't, the teams that aren't trying to just hit home runs every time, because eventually, you're facing teams in the playoffs. They're going to be a lot better than what you're seeing in the regular season. And you're not going to be able, that home run ball isn't going to be there every game. And eventually it's going to wear off. And so the ability to, move guys around, get them into scoring position, then hit them in and then execute, that's what you got to do in October, and hopefully that's what can continue and get them over that hump.
I don't know if you guys saw, but today Brooksley in the second game hit his home run, hit it off his college roommate. He was the starter for the White Sox today.
Nice.
So that's what did he say? Like, he's like he said our line, like I'm batting 333 on him. Last I checked, that's Hall of Fame numbers. We say that all the time regarding anything. It's obviously not even baseball related, but just the fact that he pulled that out is pretty cool.
Yeah, because I was looking him up on Wikipedia. Because I know we were all surprised that he went to Cal Poly, but then I realized reading up on him, that his dad was the head coach there. Mm-hmm. That's why I went there.
Cal Poly's not a bad. Any program in California is good because the talent out there is just stupid, like just deep as hell. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean they're decent, like not like College World Series, Long Beach State, or anything like Cal State Fullerton
or Fullerton.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of talent. I mean, states that can play baseball all year round. There's going to be a lot of guys that are under recruited and things like that. But
he called his dad when he first got back from his rehab assignment, saying his right-handed swing sucked.
I thought it was his left.
Next night he hit a bomb off on the right side.
Yeah, well, because they were interviewing him as it happened, or it was like the day later or something.
Just crazy.
And yeah, I thought it was his left-handed batting was trash, is what he said. Maybe not, but
no, he said he just started. I don't know. Like, he's been back and forth, but I feel like his right-handed was better contact, but more power on the left side. Which in the MLB, both his home runs and the majors both have come from the left side. But his bottom of the 11th hit versus the White Sox would have been Monday night. That was from the right side, so it was just a solid knock up the middle. But just once we have Santana, right, it's a switch hitter, Castro, and now Lee. Like 3 switch hitters in your lineup is like unheard of. That's not even counting like you have Royce Lewis, Correa, Buxton, Jeffers has been good. Like they're 1 through 9. Who was it today? I think it was Morneau. We're saying it doesn't matter where they're at in the order. The last month and a half, like there's a threat, and that's very rare, and you don't see that, especially now in baseball. Like who was it? The last team we played, Houston. They're 9 hitters batting like 120. Same with the White Sox. Like, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah, and hopefully they're able to use that balance and keep this hot streak going. But speaking of hot streaks, I guess this is a good segue to our final topic before Curveball of the Week. Here is this. Last year we talked about heartbreaking losses, one that like just stung, and you lost in heartbreaking fashion. But this week we're going to mix it up this time, as we're going to talk about the game that we thought there is absolutely 100% no way that this game, one of our teams was going to lose this game, but it was very evident very early on in said game that it was like, oh, we are not winning this game. So I think all 3 of us have our games as and I don't know how we want to do this. Do we do it in the style of regular 3 guys talking ball fashion?
I think it has to be that.
It has to be that. So with the first pick of the most blowout loss that you thought you were going to win is Ethan. The hot streak continues here with the first pick. Second pick is going to be...
It's going to be Dylan.
Nope.
Hey, all right.
And this was the most accessible one, so I was the Carolina Panthers.
He's excited for Dad.
So, Ethan, what was the game that you were like, yeah, there's absolutely no way that we're gonna lose this game, and then all of a sudden it was like first couple quarter and a half innings, whatever it may be, What game was that? And before you say, Grant, let's both see if we can guess which one it would be.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I have an idea. I think I'm gonna go back to 2019, the Battle for the Axe game at TCF.
Dylan nailed it.
That's it. That's
easy.
yeah.
Easy. Yeah. No, you have game
day there. Tell us.
Yeah, I mean you have game day there. First time they've ever been on campus. Lee Corso even picks Minnesota, but you come out hot. Hit Bateman on a slant and go for about a 60-yard touchdown. Place is going nuclear. I want to say they even went down and kicked a field goal after that to go up 10-0.
They were up
10-0.
Because I think it was like a 4th and short that Fleck probably should have went for the way they were going because they were moving the ball on that Wisconsin front, and then he ended up going for the field goal.
And that's where it turned. Fa'alele went out. He did not come back, I think, going to end of the first quarter, start of the second. And that's right. Really when the tires just came off. They kept blitzing that right side. They couldn't hold him. The right tackle. The backup was just not ready. He wasn't ready for it at all. And, that pretty much sealed it. Like, we couldn't get a stop after that. Couldn't move the ball.
And then also, Ethan, to your point, after that, for Minnesota's sake, since they couldn't get anything going on offense, Paul Chryst was able to figure out this gopher front, and it was just Wisconsin football really fell apart after the pandemic or COVID. They had those two good games where they were 2-0, but before then, that was just a Wisconsin clinic where nobody was going to stop them except Ohio State in the Big Ten.
That was
that day.
Brett Bielema ball.
Yeah,
that's what it felt like watching.
Yeah,
especially after they just knocked off Penn State like 4 weeks earlier, and honestly, that game never should have been as close as it was.
No.
But yeah, that season in general, like Tyler Johnson catches that slant versus Iowa, walks in. How easily they could have been undefeated going into the Big Ten championship game it's kind of crazy. Maybe 3 or 4 plays in one injury away. It could have been college football playoff even. Doubtful, but Rose Bowl for sure.
If they they would have made the Rose Bowl because Ohio State would have made the playoff.
They were in the playoff. They played Clemson that year.
But if they win that game, the Big Ten championship game is it's a playoff game because the winner goes to the playoff that year. Loser goes to the Rose Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a quarterfinal.
So
let's not call it the Big Ten.
What if? Well, who knows where we get back to that?
In that situation, don't call it the Big Ten title game. Just call it a college football playoff quarterfinal, and you happen to.
It's a quarterfinal.
Your trophy in that game happens to be, oh, hey, you won the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Then you get to go play Clemson.
Call me crazy. I honestly think they would have had Oklahoma been the 3 seed that year, and then Minnesota they would have played LSU 100%. So it worked out for the better. Going up against that buzzsaw with that LSU team in 2019 there. I wouldn't have wanted to do that.
No. But that was but they did go. They were able to rally the troops and get a big win in the Outback Bowl over Auburn. And it was PJ Fleck's best season as coach of the Gophers. I know, Ethan, I think when we talked about favorite college football game, I want to say that game was his favorite game that he's seen to that point.
What, the Penn State game?
Yeah. No, the Auburn win.
Yeah, I'd say so.
And
I don't know. Like, I might even say Penn State just because Auburn was good, but I feel like it would have been the next, it was earlier that year, I guess. I think the Penn State win was bigger.
I would agree. I mean,
I would
agree
too.
Because
that's really what put them on the big stage for the rest of the season.
Well, yeah, because no one in America thought they had a chance against Penn State.
No.
Like I think everyone thought, oh, it's going to be the cute story, the Big Ten West finally plays the big boys from the East, and it's not like Penn State. It's not like they're playing Michigan or Ohio State on paper.
Mm-hmm.
They should beat this. They should beat this Minnesota team because they should beat any team in the Big Ten West. It's Penn State, and they got their ass handed to them that day.
Well, and I don't know, Grant, when you and I went over to the Minnesota campus and we were walking around, we went into the team shop at Huntington Bank, and that the panorama of them storming the field after that game is like the number one is the picture of when you walk in there. The first thing that caught my eye was that game, and I can't remember. It wasn't too long ago, but it popped up on my suggestions for YouTube feed. So I actually watched that the highlights of that game, and yeah, Minnesota was up by 2 or 3 scores, and then Penn State made a late comeback. But it was really Minnesota controlled that game from the start, and you know it was a magical day in Minneapolis.
Yeah, that was honestly. Fleck left a lot of points on the field at that game too.
But what did you have any honorable mentions?
I guess I would just say the Timberwolves versus Dallas this postseason.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one.
That's probably a second one. Vikings versus Giants. It's not a blowout, obviously, but it's just something you expect. You shouldn't lose that game.
Just the way that game started, though, Minnesota was never able to get a hold of, get control of that game. They were always playing it at the Giants' pace. It always felt like the Giants were always a step ahead of the Vikings. So
they were dictating everything.
That would be an acceptable answer for that. I would 1,000% say is that would be that playoff game. But Grant, you're up. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, what's annoying about that Viking-Giants game is the Vikes went right down the field to start and scored that touchdown. And didn't they hold the Giants to a field goal? Did they score a touchdown after that too, guys? I can't remember.
I can't remember either.
But yeah, to start out, right down the field, zippity zap, make it easy, and then just kind of. Unfortunately, for some reason, not block Dexter Lawrence the rest of the game. And, the Vikes defense that year, like we said earlier today, was a middle school level defense. Couldn't stop anybody.
Another one I thought about for you, Ethan, would have been the 2017 NFC Championship game against the Eagles. But
I mean, I guess you can make an argument for it. But at the end of the day,
look, guys, let's be honest here. After that New Orleans game, we should have known that there's no way the Vikings are going to win on Sunday. That there's no way they're beating the Eagles.
The sports gods aren't that kind.
I was confident. Looking back, I mean, that's pretty naive and just stupid.
But yeah, I remember Al Gaskin
getting pumped about the Twins too. So it's just rinse and repeat.
I remember Al asking me after that Saints game. He goes, "Do you think there's honestly a way they can win on Sunday?" And I was like, "No." It's such an emotional high to come down to. Like it probably took those guys until Tuesday or Wednesday to get down to reality. And Philadelphia struggled to beat Atlanta, so they came in on Monday, and Peterson and Schwartz just ripped those guys a new one.
But the Grant, you're up here, and I've been thinking about this all week, trying to figure out which game this would be, and I have a couple of guesses, and don't tell me which one it is, but I would say the Super Bowl where the Bucks beat the Chiefs, or potentially the Rose Bowl when Iowa played Stanford. But even though that was, I think people thought that could be a good game. But I really struggled with this one. I'm not going to lie.
I could have an outside the box answer, maybe.
Okay.
I have 2021 Iowa football when they're number 2, losing to at Purdue on the road.
Well, Purdue came to Kinnick that day and beat the shit out of them.
Was it in Kinnick? I thought it was on the road. Sorry.
It was in Kinnick. Nope.
Oh, it was in
Kinnick.
You're right.
Mm-hmm. Actually, fun fact for you, Ethan, on that day, that was when we went down to Austin.
That's right.
Just watch Texas pull a classic Texas, blow a second half lead to Oklahoma State. We walked back to the hotel, and we were gonna watch this game because we just we're sitting outside in the Texas heat for 4 hours watching this game.
I remember that now.
And after David Bell went down the field, he had like 4 catches and a touchdown on this drive. And then
didn't he go for like 15 and 200 or something that day?
Oh yeah, he went nuclear that day. And then
he had what Rondale Moore had against Ohio State a few years ago.
Yeah,
worse than that.
Well, and David Bell, he did it against Iowa twice. He did it in 2020 also. Something about those Purdue receivers.
He just tormented.
Oh my God! Something about those Purdue receivers against Iowa. They just absolutely took them for everything they were worth. That's one, Ethan. But actually, Dylan, in one of your two, you got it right.
Hey.
Yeah, and Super it actually, not the Super Bowl. It was the Rose Bowl actually.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
it was the second play of the game, the Christian McCaffrey.
I think it was the
angle route.
It was the first play actually. It
might have been the first play.
I think it was the first play.
It was the very first play.
It was the first play, yeah. But Ethan, on that note for the Super Bowl, that could have been there. And I remember that game. The Chiefs, they got a 3-and-out to stop, and they went down and they got a 3-0 lead. But after about Tampa Bay's next 2 drives, you're just like, oh, this is going to be tough. And also just the sheer amount of injuries the Chiefs had up front with 3 new starters going up against that Tampa Bay defense. Everybody wanted to gobble on Brady's cock that day and said, oh, the game was over when Tyrann Mathieu was talking shit to him. No.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I understand Tom is the greatest of all time, but that day was all about Tampa Bay's defense.
True.
Let's 4 years later, let's give credit where credit is due. And Todd Bowles and that defense, they won the show that day. But yeah, no, sorry, back to the real answer, guys. It was that Rose Bowl. Just because with the excitement and the pageantry, all of us growing up in Big Ten country, there's just something special about the Rose Bowl. And, finally seeing Iowa there, I knew they'd have, quote, a home game. They probably had about 65% of the crowd that day. And then just kind of how special that regular season was, because I honestly thought they were going to lose to Illinois State that year. And I thought they were going to be a 6-6 team and Ferentz was going to get fired. And, they had a lucky schedule. They didn't have to play any of the big guns. And, they went 12-0. We were down there for a game, and then, the heartbreaker to Michigan State. I thought, hey, they're going to get this dialed in. And they're going to, beat a Stanford team who's probably upset they're not in the playoff because they lost a game they shouldn't have. McCaffrey was slighted from the Heisman, which he very well could have won it that year. And
probably should have won it that year.
Probably should have won it that year.
If he plays at Clemson or like any team on the East Coast, like if he played at like a Florida State, he wins that.
Yeah. And
whatever David Bell did or whatever his name was versus Iowa, just triple that, and that's what McCaffrey did.
Yeah, and then the first play, McCaffrey just finds a hole in the zone and he just splits it, and it's like, okay, there's a future All-Pro and NFL MVP on here, and a bunch of guys in this Iowa defense who are going to be cut after their second season in the NFL. It's like, okay, this isn't fair. And then just how big Stanford's defensive line was and how dominant they were. Iowa couldn't get anything going. I'm sure they went 3-and-out. And then like either the next play, the next drive for Stanford or the second drive, they pulled out this trick play. It was almost like a flea flicker, but they put on the ground and threw it back to Kevin Hogan. And this guy goes down the field before you know it, it's 21-0. And you're just like, okay, yep, all the excitement and fun I had for this game is now over.
Man, Kevin Hogan, what an underrated college quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
He was a good quarterback. He's got like 3 Pac-12 championship rings sitting in his closet somewhere.
Terrible.
And Ethan talks about
some financial guy just
making more money than he works, or he's working for Google and he's making more money than God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to Ethan's point,
walks into an interview holding up the resume. Job.
to Ethan's point, how he said the Gophers were a couple plays from being undefeated. Stanford, all those years, they were also probably 3 plays a year or 1 play a year from being in a college football playoff. And you give that offensive line 4 weeks off and a chance to play for a title. I don't want to play against those guys.
No.
I'm looking at Kevin Hogan's Instagram, and it says he is he's got his bio is Stanford, DC, Nashville. So, it shows in 21 he was the backup for Ryan Tannehill for the Titans.
I bet he's in sales.
I know the Chiefs drafted him.
He was hanging with Christian McCaffrey at what looks like an all-white party back in 23.
What's his name again?
Kevin Hogan.
Kevin Hogan. He has his last post was April 20th in Nashville. Looked like he's just kind of living his best life here. But
April 20th in Nashville. I wonder what he's doing.
Yeah. The weed.
I remember, dude.
He doesn't have a LinkedIn, so we're good there.
I remember Dylan. He was coming in the NFL draft in 2016, and it's one thing Andy Reid does every year. Well, now that he has Pat Mahomes, he doesn't do this, but he would draft a quarterback every single season. And like before the 5th round, this is totally random. I texted you and I said, "Watch out, Kevin Hogan to the Chiefs here," and then. Sure shit. What do we have?
Bada bing, bada boom.
Bada bing, bada boom, right there. So yeah, I'd say the Rose Bowl. Just so much passionatry and love for that game, and I always had so much fun as a kid watching it. And for Iowa to finally get a chance to go when it actually mattered, I was like, "Oh, this is sweet." And they're playing Stanford. It's not like they're playing USC or anyone I despised. It was, they're playing the cream of the crop at the time, and they just got the doors blown off of them that day.
Yeah, I think I stopped watching it because it was such a blowout.
Oh yeah,
but I remember after like his 3rd long run, you text me, "Is Christian McCaffrey human?" And then you send like the meme, the dude with his hands up. No,
no.
But I guess that brings it up to me here. So, fellas, what do you guys think is the game? There was no way a team was going to lose, and they were blown out.
Pick your choice of a Cowboys playoff game.
Recency bias is last year's Cowboys playoff game against Green Bay, or
there's too many to count.
Or Michigan playing TCU.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Lastly, this is kind of off the record here, Dylan. I'll go 2018 Michigan, Ohio State. I mean, they lost by 30 that day.
They did.
I'm going to go. It wasn't a blowout, but I'll say Louisville in the Final Four.
Oh shit, that's a good one.
But that was a back and forth game.
Screw it. I'm going to say Michigan TCU because they were the better team that day. They just laid an egg early.
I'll say I don't think they don't care enough. Yeah, I'll stick with Louisville. Why the hell not?
2 pick sixes and then a fumble within your own 1 yard line. Yeah, you're not going to win that game. They made a heck of a comeback though, and I was fully convinced they were going to win by 2 scores before the Quentin Johnson. He had that catch and run for like 70 yards where they had him. It was a 3rd and long, and he breaks a tackle and houses it.
Dugan threw the ball 3 yards past the line of scrimmage, and he missed a tackle, and oh my God, there's no one around him.
Yep, that one. But no, the first one you guys mentioned was that is correct. The 2018, the Ohio State. It had been so long at that point where Michigan. I was, and it was like. Yes, Ohio State hasn't been playing great, but just the way Michigan's offense was leading up to it, where they were struggling in the red zone too, and I was like, I don't know if that's going to be good enough. And then, Chris Olave comes out of nowhere and has 2 touchdowns on basically the exact play. It was like, oh, this is going to be uphill sledding. And then it was a 1-point game at halftime. And then the brakes fell off on the in the second half. But no, it was the 2023 Packers Cowboys NFC wildcard game because it was. I mean, they were riding high. I mean, this was people were considering Dak Prescott for the MVP. He was having his best year. The defense was playing well. They won the division. They got rid of Kellen Moore. Mike McCarthy as a play caller was calling a really good game. Rodgers was gone. The big bad wicked witch was dead. It was going to be the way for the Cowboys to exercise all their demons, and it was going to be the Joe Barry funeral game. The defense was playing well. Micah Parsons got a holding call, which then I realized that's all he was looking for the last month of the season or 6 weeks of the season is all he wanted was a holding call, and then he just stopped playing hard. And then all of a sudden, and then the Monday before, Michigan just won the national title. So I was still riding high from that. I was like, college team just won the national title. NFL team's going to go win the Super Bowl. And then all of a sudden you blink, and suddenly they are down 27-0. And it was like,
Dylan, was it the second Aaron Jones touchdown, or was it the pick six that you were like, it's over?
It was, yes.
Okay, I feel like after the second touchdown's 20-0, it's like whatever. They're driving. They might kick a field goal before the halftime, but it was the pick six where you were just like, okay, I'm a Tom Brady football, deflated. This game's over. We're moving.
Well,
we're moving on.
And they zoom in on the game. Like the crowd was buzzing. Like it was like AT&T Stadium is not known for being a raucous atmosphere, but like they hadn't lost the game at home since week 1 of 22 when they lost to the Bucs on Sunday Night Football. So they finally had established a home field advantage. That place the roof was ready to blow off, and then all of a sudden it was just like I felt like the entire AT&T Stadium. It was just like everybody was all like confused as to what was going on. Like how wouldn't have been shocked the Packers kept it close, but the fact that it was just at any time anything that the Packers dialed up worked. Like the receivers were just wide open running down the field, and it was like.
Well, and Dylan, the worst part about this game was we didn't get to see the crying Cowboy fans like we did against San Francisco in 21, because this game was just over from the jump. To your point, everybody was just shell-shocked and surprised, like, what is going on?
And it was like it was like the first time like in reality that like I actually thought they legit had a shot to go to the Super Bowl by the way they were playing, and then all of a sudden it just ends. And I feel like I had good reason to believe like that they should be at least, I mean, maybe lose in the NFC Championship game, but Ethan, I think, picked the Packers just to spite me, just to be that guy.
No, he was on the Packers.
He fully believed the Packers to win.
Now
he says that, but he was doing it just to troll me. He was trying to bring me down to earth after Michigan won the national title.
And they should have.
Well, dude, he had them in the playoffs to start the year. Let's give him his flowers.
Yeah. Jordan Love believer. You're a Dak believer. You're stupid.
The jury's still out on out on Jordan Love. He's only had 8 games of good play. We'll see if he can do it for a whole season.
We should have known that this Dallas team was fool's gold in this aspect. They lose a game that they should have won on Christmas Eve to the Dolphins. They lose a game to the Lions because Taylor Decker forgets to report as eligible, which maybe he actually did, maybe he didn't.
He did.
What the ref call? He did not. But the ref said he didn't.
In this aspect, though, Dallas was not playing their best coming into the end of the year. We should have known that something like this might happen because they truly weren't buzzing. But what do you do?
What do you do? There's always next year, right? God, I sound like a Cubs fan. Shit.
Maybe. I don't even know if we have to worry about the Cowboys because we don't know where Dylan's alliance is.
Well, it's up for debate. You know, if the Cowboys are going to be good,
does it depend?
Breaking out the jean shorts and backwards hat
and a fade. Are you going to get a fade?
And a
haircut?
Fade, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Does it depend on who is the starting quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings Week 1?
Well, you know, I think to be honest, I don't think truthfully a whole lot is going to change, as long as the the first time we can really have the conversation is when the Cowboys and Vikings play against each other, and then we can go from there. And
does that
if
happen
JJ is playing? I don't think it does.
I don't think it does.
Next year it does.
Next year, yeah.
And if JJ McCarthy is playing for the Vikings, I might lean towards the Vikings, but you know, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So, Ethan, what do you got for us for curveball of the week?
So yeah, we booked my bachelor party this week, or I guess last week. Down in Scottsdale, Phoenix, you name it. But if you had to pick right now, where would you have your bachelor party?
Oh, that's a good one.
Ooh. Somewhere where there's golf courses.
Sir.
All right. Well, we're gonna have to dial that in a little more, partner.
Yeah, that's pretty broad, but.
Well, I don't know if Deadwood's always a good option, or there's like that resort over in Minnesota somewhere that has like all those golf courses. I think that would be a sweet place to go have one.
More kind of up in like the Brainerd area.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Sure.
Yeah, Brainerd was on the list.
Yeah, Brainerd. Yeah, I think it's up in Brainerd, where they have like those I think it's 3 courses.
Yeah. I know which one you're talking. Craig.
Well, is it Fortune Bay?
I was just up there. There's a couple.
Whatever.
There's lodges up there, and then there's
Yeah, that's right.
Gosh dang it, Hannah would know the name of it.
Because the Wilderness is up by Vermilion.
Mm-hmm. No, the golf resort. Madden's.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of cities I haven't been to. I think Nashville might be kind of a fun option.
Yeah.
Also, selfishly, to make it about me, which it is, I've never been to Vegas. Go to Vegas, but then on that Sunday or Monday, watch the Chiefs play the Raiders. That'd be kind of fun.
Vegas.
Can
we put your mattress on the roof?
I would appreciate it if that did not happen.
Come on.
But like I said, I've never been to either of those cities. But just to answer the question, I'll say Nashville.
Okay.
All right, there it is.
It's kind of an easy answer, but I feel like that'd be a good excuse to go to that city for 3 to 4 days.
Yeah, that's probably about the right amount of time for that. Would be 3 to 4 days. Similar to Vegas, you only need about 3 to 4 days there, and then it's like, okay, it's time to go home and recuperate the body. Yeah. So, but then that wraps up this week's episode. We'll be back next week with another episode. Not sure what we're going to be talking about yet, but we will cross that bridge when we get there. We'll have the podcast version of the show. If you missed the live show, we'll have that out, or if you want to listen to it again, we'll have it back out hopefully up tomorrow, and we will talk to you next week.